and that you are interested in the project. Hopefully the presentation will be of your interest. Okay, so I'm the project coordinator, as Paolo mentioned, of DataPorts. So I'm going to present you the project. Okay, so the DataPorts stands for a data platform for the cognitive ports of the future. So just to establish some context, I would like you to think of the seaports. In Europe, you have here the aerial image of the port of Valencia. So this is quite a complex environment. There are many activities daily going on that are managed by many different entities in many different areas. If we just look to the container terminal, you see there all the containers that are there stored, that comes and goes and so on. There are many stakeholders involved in the management of these containers. Okay, so just to mention some of the actors that are involved in this environment, you can think of the port authority, who is ruling the port, shipping agencies, the terminal operator, the freight forwarder, and there are many others. All of these entities manage their IT systems, manage their assets with their own systems, and have to communicate with each other, and has to work on a daily basis and share some data and so on. So it is not only a complex environment in terms of stakeholders and the relationships, but also in the assets they manage. So we have sensors all around the port. We have many different platforms. Probably we have one platform for each one of the actors, and sometimes they don't communicate between each other. We may have some cloud infrastructure from some services in place, and the mobiles that the people has there, and the handle devices, and so on. So the fact is that currently ports are very digitalized, and they store a big quantity of data. But how this data is shared and traded between the different actors for the benefit of all, it's something that poses many challenges. Okay, so just to mention some of them, the ports that are currently very digitalized come with many different systems, but they probably and sometimes lack of methods for secure and trusted sharing of data. So there is nothing in place that they can go and easily share data in a trusted way. And this is because at the end the data is their know-how, and it's something very, very important for each one of these entities. Okay, there could be also some technical issues. So if one system has to communicate with other, there should be some interoperability issues, some integration issues that prevent them to communicate to each other. Sometimes they have some data platforms for communicating and sharing data, but these are hard to connect, so to say. Okay, and not to say about the administrative burden. So in this context, where a lot of data is generated, and sometimes it's hard to take maximum benefit of it, is where the project is born. Okay, this is what DataPorts is tackling exactly, and how we want to make the difference. It's we have several aims in the project. The first one would be to take advantage of the huge amount of data generated around highly digitalized and connected seaports. So data is there. It's a matter of going and exploiting it in the best way. Okay. So if we achieve to do this, we say that we move from the digital to the cognitive, and we transform the data into information and into intelligence. Okay, so that would be the first one. And which tool do we have to achieve this? Well, we aim to develop an industrial data platform where data coming from different sources can be combined to improve existing processes. And that is the very final aim, is to improve the existing processes based on the share and the trade of knowledge and data. Okay. And on the top of this platform, we are going to develop some novel cognitive and AI-based applications. So we can, for example, use machine learning, artificial intelligence, and so on, to develop some models so they can predict how the port is going to behave, and it can help in the planning of the different operations and activities of the port. Okay. And of course, if we introduce this such kind of data platform in the port, this will enable new opportunities of business and collaboration between the different actors, and this will come up with the business model. It's also part of the project to investigate and to research how these new business models will work and will affect the port environment. Okay. So very briefly about some metadata about the project. It's a 3 years project. We are ending the first year of the project, so we have the design and started the implementation. Not tangible results yet. Hopefully, we will come next year to this forum with some nice demos to show you. But for the moment, we have this high-level presentation view. It's a 6 million euros budget project with more than 900 persons a month and a total of 13 partners working on it. This is the list of partners. You see most of them come from Spain and from Greece. And this is because our main pilots are there. It's the pilot of Valencia that you have seen the picture at the beginning, and the pilot of Thessaloniki, but we have global use case. I will give you more insights in a moment. And we have other partners from France, Germany, and Israel. All of them are complementarity and with all the skills needed to develop the applications that we envisioned. So briefly about the objectives of the project, we have 2 relevant use cases at Seaports that I already mentioned, and we'll go into details in a moment. We plan to use semantic, we are planning a semantic approach for data sharing. So we want the different entities in the port to speak the same language, and speaking the same language, you have to know the schema of the data in advance. So we're proposing a common schema for the data based on ontologies and so on. So this is part of the world of DataPorts. We, of course, are developing novel AI-based services and applications on the top of the platform. We are providing a data governance framework for putting and setting some rules and policies over the data in the ports, and we are relying on a blockchain network. Of course, we will integrate and develop some tools and a reference architecture for the project. And this architecture will not be built from scratch. We are based on the Industrial Data Space Association reference architecture, the IDS reference architecture, to build our own implementation. Okay. And of course, we want to create impact in the Seaports and create new cooperation and business framework. Okay. So how is this data platform and why is innovative? So I'm going to briefly explain how it will work or in the future, this data platform, and what the key innovations are. And I think the best thing to see how this is going to work is with a very simple example of how this works. So in every data platform, you have people who's providing data who will be the data providers, and people who's consuming who will be the data consumers. So imagine we have the port authority that needs some data from some actors of the port, in this case, the terminal operator and the container carrier. They want to have some data to make some prediction, for example, about the ETA of the containers or the vessels. So they want these 2 entities, these 2 organizations inside the port to share the data. So this will be the data providers. And they have to instantiate to some extent the DataPorts platform in their own infrastructures. So the data remain with them. There is no kind of central repository. It's a kind of decentralized repository. And these 2, by deploying the DataPorts platform, they become data providers. And they can expose this data to the rest of the system, of the space. Okay. So in this case, they are going to send some data to the port authority, which also have instantiated the DataPorts platform and can see this data, and based on some rules that we rely on the blockchain network to do this. The port authority can retrieve this data, can combine it with their own data, and build some cognitive services. But this is it's not only about data providers and data consumers. So the port authority probably has not the knowledge or the skills to program or to develop these cognitive services, and they have to rely on some kind of IT company. and this, or IT provider, and this IT provider has also some instances of the DataPorts platform, and can expose this to the rest of the actors. So Port Authority can identify that there is an IT provider that can provide analytics he is expecting, and based on the data coming from the terminal operator, the container carrier, its own data, and on the analytics on a third party, which in this case is the IT provider, can build its cognitive services, okay? This is what we call the DataPorts data space. So everybody can see what others are offering, can retrieve data, can consume data based on some rules. And these rules are in the data governance framework that we are developing and rely on the blockchain technology. So there are some policies for the usage. The owners of the data can have total control of the data, and there are clear agreements between them thanks to the blockchain technology, okay? And also we provide a secure environment. So I will come in a moment to this, but we have a single entry point, which is very much secure. So we believe it's secure enough. So this DataPorts data space can generate trust in the end users, and they can use it at the end, okay? If we don't generate trust, no one is going to use it. That's completely clear. So the platform is providing some what we call core services. These are services specifically for the data. It's what we call data enable services. So we have semantic data access. We put on the hands of the different stakeholders using the platform the means and the tools to transform the data and to expose it to the rest of the entities that are using the platform. We have this blockchain data governance framework, where we establish the policies, the rules, and how this works. This is based on the smart contracts. We have a secure environment, and security, it's from the design taking into account. And we are currently carrying out a exhaustive risk assessment to cover any points in terms of security. And one thing that I think is quite innovative is that we offer not only peer-to-peer communication between the different entities, but also we can store data on chain. So it's stored effectively on the chain, on the blockchain directly. So you have these two possibilities depending on the use case. You can have a peer-to-peer communication where the terminal operator sends directly the information to the Port Authority, or you can opt for storing your data in the blockchain. So you write your data in the blockchain, and then there are some rules for you to read this data. And if the Port Authority has the rights to do it, he can read this data and make use of it, okay? And on the top of that, we have what we call value services. This is where we build our, what we call cognitive services and applications. These are based on some analytics and data processing based mainly on machine learning and artificial intelligence, okay? So I'm very high level, but if you want more details about any of these boxes, you can put your questions directly on the chat, or we can discuss it later. Okay. So key innovations about this platform, where we support the federation of data sources available in the port. So we believe the data has to remain as close to the source as possible. It makes no sense just to have a central repository kind of that. So we put the means with the data platforms to keep the data with the owners, and just to expose what it is requested, or what the owner wants. Okay, that's why we build this data. So in the picture you see in the slide, at the bottom of it, different data sources that can be in the port, like the container tracking, terminal operator system, etc. You can expose this is an innovation that comes for following the IDS reference architecture. Okay. Then we guarantee an end-to-end secure and trustful environment for data sharing and trading. So we have IDS connectors, and these are secure connectors. And this is the only entry point and the only way to get and retrieve data. So you have to go through these connectors, and this has all the security mechanisms in place, or they will have all the security mechanisms in place. There is a data governance framework based on a permission blockchain network. We will have some secure identity protocols and so on in place. So this is what we plan. Okay. And the last one is about key innovations to provide big data analytics capabilities to develop cognitive applications. We want, and we are aware, not the entities that are going to work with this platform is going to have huge skills in machine learning, and they are going to have data scientists in place. So we want to make a kind of easy to use tool to build cognitive applications. So if you have an actor in the port that want to make some predictions, we can make available some models already pre-trained, and they can try to build their own application, just saying, I want to use this model that is for prediction of ETAs, for example, and this is my data, and I want to use my data with this model. I want to check these fields. Can build the cognitive application. So this is the things that we are aiming of in the project. Okay. Okay, so I gave you some more insight about how the platform is going to work, and some words now about what will be the pilots in the project, the use cases. So the first one is based in Valencia in Spain. We have 3 different use cases inside. We have the Thessaloniki port, which it's a little bit different, and I will go in a moment. And then we have what we called the global use cases. This is relying in some technologies of a couple of partners of DataPorts, TrackSense and ProDevelop. And the main aim of these global use cases is not to stay in a local environment or in a local port, but to go further, to show scalability of our solution, to show that it's interoperable with much more systems, and that is easily scalable at the end. Okay. So just going a few words about, just a second, just a few words. We are looking to container and goods tracking. So for example, the Port of Valencia has already an Industry 4.0 platform that is giving quite a lot of information, and get access control, for example, container tracking devices, etc. So thanks to DataPorts, we would like to get more insights about the container arrival and the goods status in this scenario. Also regarding the transport operations, as you know, and you see in the example at the bottom of the slide, there are multimodal operations inside the port, from the maritime shipping line, terminal operator, road carrier, etc. So we plan to use the AI services to improve the planning of these multimodal operations, making some predictions so they can plan in advance any issue that they may found in the port. Okay. And the last case, in the case of Valencia, is the data analytics sharing platform. They do have Valencia port do have a port community system in place where they exchange transactions already to organize the container transport. These transactions are can be extended a little bit to include more advanced analytics and some KPI predictions based on artificial intelligence and so on. So we plan to integrate this port community system together with our platform to extend its functionalities. Okay. And the Thessaloniki use case, a little bit different. They want to integrate the existing systems and devices and act as a single point of reference for data exploitation. So there is quite a lot of data owned by the Thessaloniki Port Authority. You see some examples there: ship calls, traffic data, wind data, air quality data. They have some IoT sensors in place in Thessaloniki, and they want to combine all this information with the traffic management center of the city and with the mobile phone carriers to check the flows of the people inside the port. Okay. So at the end, the main aim would be to improve the environmental conditions of the port. And this is achieved thanks to a couple of applications that we envision in the project to provide these analytics. One is for the policymakers and the people monitoring the port activities, the logistic activities, is what we call here the data-driven app for strategic and real-time decisions. And the other one is directly addressed to users of the ports, the cruisers and so on. Then if we move to the global use cases, the one that shows how we can we can show interoperability and we can make it scalable and so on. We have the first one, which is based on a smart container. So this is the technology from one of the partners of DataPorts. You see this device in the picture, which is attached to the container. This is giving quite a lot of information about the container. You see there the position, movement, ambient temperature, door opening, shocks. So we want to provide some position-based services thanks to this data, and some anomalous event notifications through the DataPorts platform, so others can take benefit of this information. And the second one of the global use cases is to show interoperability. This is based in a software management suite of ProDevelop, which is called Posidonia, specifically for ports. And this is a product of this SME ProDevelop. They have this in place in several ports in Europe, and we are now checking checking which ports can collaborate with us. So we have a couple of candidates, and we will most probably use Posidonia as a new data source for our platform, so we can make some benefit of it. Okay. So just you have seen some project info. You have a view, a high-level view of how the platform works and what the final applications are. So just some challenges ahead. I'm going to focus on the data challenges that we have. Okay. So some things that it's going to become an issue in the project at some time, I would say, is the data heterogeneity. So all of you that you have worked with data know how this works. So we have a wide array of information systems and heterogeneous data infrastructures, and these are used for regular business processes. And we have to provide the means so we transform this data heterogeneity into an opportunity to know and to share and to trade the data. Okay. We have to generate trust in our platform, and we have to put all the security mechanisms in place. Otherwise, nobody is going to use the platform. Okay, so data is of paramount importance for everybody, for all the organizations. So this has to be ensured, and this is also a challenge for the project. We are using blockchain for data trading. I would say there are already some examples of blockchain technologies in the ports environment, like TradeLens and others. We are making some innovations there, for example, with the data stored on-chain. That is something that I think is quite new for a project. So we want to investigate and to have some research on that part. And last but not least, we want to develop accurate cognitive services. But you know, with artificial intelligence applications, the more quality, the better, and the more data, the better. So sometimes, if you don't have the quality or you don't have the quantity, it can be a problem to have good predictions or to have good applications. Okay, at the end. So these are some of the challenges that we are and will be facing during the next 2 years. And yeah, there are some impact challenges, but I think that's more or less all that I would like to tell you today. So thanks very much for attending this audio. And I don't know if we have questions in the chat, or Paolo.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Yes, we have a couple of questions from both chats. I can read them to you if you want. So the first one is regarding the storage of the information in the blockchain. How do you deal with the GDPR issues?
With the, sorry?
GDPR issues.
Yeah, we have yeah, that's a good question. We have collect all the requirements of the coming from GDPR. Of course, these are legally binding, so it's something that we just cannot ignore, I would say. And we are now in the phase of designing of this on-chain data in the blockchain. So that's something that we are currently discussing now. So I don't have like a clear answer to that, but we are taking this into account, of course.
Okay, thanks. And also they ask about what is the scalability of the network.
The scalability of the network. Well, we said we envision to have this approach of decentralized approach. So as far as everything is decentralized and we have some instances in each one of the nodes of the platform, I believe this can grow quite easily. So we don't foresee any scalability issue there. Probably it can become for the blockchain part. We may have some issues there if the platform grows enormously or it's very huge. That's something that can be of interest for research. Okay.
Thank you. And then second question, which is the expected technology readiness level of the DataPorts platform by the end of the project?
Yes, this is an innovation action. So we are expecting that the different parts of the platform to be at least TRL 6.7 in most of the cases.
Okay, then sorry.
I didn't mention, but it's an innovation action. It's not a real.
And I have one more comment about the scalability. That the question was regarding the size of the blockchain if the data grow.
Exactly. That would be a point. I mean, we have identified this. We have to make some tests. We are unsure on how the blockchain will work. Of course, we are going to provision some infrastructure to the blockchain, but this is limited. And in any case, we will make some. Hopefully, we will make some tests in the context of the project during the project. Okay.
Thank you. And then we have a couple of questions on Teams. I can read it, it's a bit long. What are the main issues for niche data sharing? As of today, are there any data sets shared within the consortium, and are those data sets accessible to the public?
Yeah, good question. We do have data sets from both ports and partners, but we don't share it publicly, I would say, yet. Okay. Some of them, I would say, are public. So if you are interested, in the case of the Port of Valencia, they have some publicly available, so you can use. So we are making use of this, of course, but also of another that are not public. So if I don't have the link right now, but if you write me an email to the address that you see on the screen, I can send you the link to where you can find the data sources. Okay.
And the last one before closing, how easy it is to find the skills for the adapter part of the project? Do you have to provide training to the data providers?
Sorry, could you repeat the beginning? I didn't get it.
So how easy it is to find the skills for the adapter part of the project?
The adapter part of the project.
I guess they refer to connect companies to read or share the data.
You mean now I understand. So yeah, of course there has to be a will to share data and to improve services. So I believe we have the right partners in the consortium to do this. At least we have two port authorities together with the research companies. We have a freight forwarder involved willing to share the data. Of course, this is a big issue. Unfortunately, some actors and some entities are very reluctant to share data, and that's something that goes beyond technical. We are putting all the means to make it secure, to make it trustful. We will be using smart contracts, for example, for setting up the policies and the rules on how to share data. But it is true that it's a challenge in some cases to have a real collaboration and a real sharing of data and so on. But we are managing that.
And so the second part, I think it's a bit more technical side. If we do have to provide training to the data providers.
Yes, training to the data providers. Yes, of course. I think some training will be part of the activities. So we will have it by the end of the project. Yes, yes. I mean, it's clear. The thing is that we are going, as part of the pilots, we are going to develop some front end in the project, and this would be as easy for them as possible. So when I was explaining, for example, the big data analytics part, we don't want the platform to become, I mean, only for data scientists, experts in machine learning. So it's more a platform to be used for the end users, for the operators, for the companies working in the port, and so on. So we will make our best to have this this platform to be ready to be used in a simple way. Okay. But of course, it will require some training, and at the end, even probably we will need some programming skills to take maximum benefit of it. That's clear.
Okay, thanks a lot. I think we are a couple of minutes overdue, but it was very interesting to have all those questions asked. So I would like to thank again Santiago for sharing with us the DataPorts experience, and thank to everyone who joined the session.
Yeah, thank you everybody who joined the session. Thank you very much.